I still remember the morning my wife stood in front of the mirror, staring at herself like she was trying to solve a riddle. She stood there in her faded bathrobe, hair still wet from the shower, one hand on her hip. I was sipping on my lukewarm coffee at the kitchen table, flipping through an auto repair catalog, trying not to notice how long she'd been at it. "I don't like what I see," she said, mostly to herself. "I used to be pretty." That pulled me out of my magazine. "You're still pretty," I said. "You're beautiful, Jess." She gave a quick, dry laugh. "You're sweet, but you're lying." I wasn't lying. I meant it. Jessica had always been beautiful to me. Even on her worst days, when she was covered in paint from one of her craft projects, or had flour in her hair from baking, she had a light in her that didn't need fixing. But lately, that light had dimmed. She started hiding behind layers of makeup, standing in front of mirrors longer than usual, buying clothes she never wore. That morning, she made a decision. "I'm joining a gym," she said. I looked up again. "Since when?" "Since now. I want to feel good again. Sexy. I want to be rounder, tighter, more. I don't know, noticeable." I tried to keep my tone calm. "You don't need a gym for that." "Yes, I do," she snapped. "I'm tired of feeling invisible." I didn't say anything after that. She was already halfway down the hall, digging through drawers for leggings and a sports bra. 2 days later, she had a membership at Iron Pulse Gym, a new place in the strip mall next to the pawn shop and Chinese takeout. At first, it was all pretty innocent. She'd leave for the gym around 9 a.m. and come back around noon, glowing with sweat and talking about muscle groups and hydration and how tight her glutes were getting. I was happy she had found something to boost her mood. I really was. If she felt good, then maybe we could feel good again, together. But by October, something started to shift. She began dressing differently. Tighter. Shorter. Riskier. She'd leave the house in those second skin yoga pants and cropped gym tops that left little to the imagination. Then it was mini dresses and little jackets barely hanging on her shoulders. One day I saw she was wearing stockings under her skirt, with garters. At first I thought she was trying to surprise me. But she wasn't doing it for me. The first time I really noticed was at the grocery store. We'd stopped to grab some milk and eggs. She walked ahead of me through the produce aisle, and I caught a man, mid-50s, polo shirt, wedding ring, staring at her like a dog waiting for a treat. And when she bent to pick up a bag of oranges, I saw it too, the outline of a thong, clearly visible through her dress. I clenched my jaw. "You didn't notice that?" I asked her later in the car. "What?" she said, feigning innocence. "It's just a dress. It's trendy." That guy back there was practically drooling on the lettuce. She smiled to herself. Well, maybe he liked what he saw. I stared at her. "Jess." She leaned back in the seat, sunglasses covering her eyes. "Maybe I like being looked at again." That was the beginning of the quiet tension. I didn't want to be the jealous husband. I didn't want to sound controlling. So I stayed quiet, tried to trust her. But each week, she got bolder, stockings peeking from under skirts, lace bras visible under tank tops, perfume heavy and sweet enough to follow her out the door. And every time she walked into that gym, she became someone else. It wasn't just me who noticed. Our neighbors did too. One afternoon, I caught our retired neighbor Jerry ogling her through the blinds like it was his new hobby. And then there were the younger guys, delivery drivers, baristas, random dudes at the gas station. Everyone stared. She liked it. She wanted it. I began to dread her gym days. Then came the day everything fell apart. It was a Thursday when the world as I knew it tilted. Not a special day. Just one of those mild, forgettable afternoons that should have passed without a mark. I was working from home, fixing up a lawn mower engine in the garage when my phone buzzed. Jess had left in her usual getup, white crop top, black spandex shorts, and those damn neon pink sneakers. She gave me a quick kiss and was out the door like she couldn't wait to be gone. I glanced at my phone. It was a message from Mike, a buddy of mine who used to lift at iRPIL before he threw his back out. "Hey, man. You still okay with Jess working out there?" "What do you mean?" "Nothing. Just, maybe ask her about her trainer. The dude with the tattoos. You know the one." I typed. "What about him?" He didn't reply. I stood there for a while with grease on my hands and a dozen questions in my head. Jess had mentioned her trainer a few times, Jason, or Jace, or something like that. Said he was helping her work on core stability and squat form. I hadn't thought much of it. I trusted her. At least, I used to. The rest of that day dragged like a slow leak in a tire. Jess came home late, close to 2 p.m., flushed and breathless, her hair a little messier than usual. "Traffic," she said. I nodded, watching her. She smelled like gym soap and something else, something warmer, heavier. I said nothing. I didn't want to believe what my brain was starting to piece together. That night, after she went to sleep, I sat up in the living room with my laptop and searched iRPIL gym trainer Jason. A few Instagram posts popped up. The guy was all over their social feed, shirtless in most of them. Arms like tree trunks, tattoos running up his neck, that gym bro smile you only see on guys who know they can have anyone they want. I kept scrolling. Then I found it. A photo from someone's story, screen captured and uploaded to Reddit of all places. It was grainy and quick, clearly a recording taken in secret from outside the locker room. There were two figures. A man, tattoos, clearly Jason, and a woman with long dark hair pressed against the lockers, half-dressed. I zoomed in and felt the room turn cold. Her. The outfit. The hair. The posture. It was Jess. I sat there frozen, unable to breathe. No face in the video, not directly. But I knew her silhouette like I knew my own name. That was the crop top she wore the day before. The tattoo on her side. The curve of her spine. I didn't sleep that night. In the morning, I didn't say a word. I watched her make her protein smoothie, watched her laugh at some text on her phone. She wore the same crop top. She asked me if I'd seen her leggings. I told her they were in the laundry. Then she leaned over and kissed my cheek. "I'll be back later, babe," she said, already halfway out the door. I didn't ask where later meant. I just sat there, staring at the front door long after it closed. The memory of that video burned into my brain. I wanted to scream. I wanted to break something. But instead, I did nothing. Because the truth is, I still loved her. Even after everything, after the secrecy, the lies, the way she looked at herself in the mirror like she was on display, I loved her. And some stupid part of me thought maybe this was a phase. Maybe if I just held on, if I just forgave her, we could go back. We could go back to the couch on Sunday mornings, watching trash TV in our pajamas. Back to the early days when she'd wear my shirts around the house. Back to when I was enough. So I forgave her. I didn't tell her I knew. Not yet. But something in me changed. Something in me turned quiet. Sharp. Watchful. After I decided to forgive her, even if she didn't know she needed forgiveness, something in the house changed. Maybe it was the silence. Not the kind that makes you feel calm. No, this was the thick, sticky silence. The kind that made the air hard to breathe, like the walls were listening. Jess didn't notice. Or maybe she did, but she was too wrapped up in her new body, her new routine, and that damn gym. She came home smiling, glowing even, like nothing was wrong. She'd drop her bag by the door, head to the mirror, check her makeup, fluff her hair. "Can you tell I've been working on my glutes?" she asked once, turning in a slow circle like she was auditioning for someone else's approval. "You look great," I said, and meant it. What I didn't say was, "You looked just as good before. And you didn't lie back then." She started going out more, too. Not just to the gym, now it was brunch with the girls, shopping sprees, yoga nights, wellness retreats. There were no girls. She didn't have many friends. I checked her messages when she left her phone unlocked. No group texts, no spa bookings. But there were messages from J. Just the initial. I didn't need a full name to know who that was. Short ones. "You free? 10 minutes? Locker." They were always deleted within hours. But she forgot to delete the cloud sync. The worst one? A photo. Her. Standing in that same locker room from the video. Shirt off. Just a sports bra and a pair of black lace panties that didn't belong to any gym set I'd ever seen her wear. The mirror was fogged, but she was clear. She'd sent it to him. No caption. She didn't need one. That night, she walked through the front door like she always did. Kicked off her sneakers, humming some pop song like she wasn't breaking me into pieces 1 pixel at a time. She kissed me on the head and said, "Smells good. You cooking?" I had made spaghetti. The one thing I could do without overthinking. Stir the sauce, boil the pasta, pretend everything's normal. We sat at the table like a regular couple. She talked about a deep burn from weighted lunges. I nodded, chewing through it like cardboard. When she got up to pour herself a glass of wine, I watched the way she walked. There was something in her gait now, something that wasn't there before. Confidence? Maybe. Or just a woman who knows someone else wants her and enjoys being wanted. That night, in bed, she tried to cuddle close. "I missed you today," she whispered, laying her head on my chest. I didn't respond. Not because I didn't want to, but because I couldn't lie as easily as she could. Instead, I waited until her breathing slowed, until I was sure she was asleep, and I slipped out of bed. I went to the living room and sat in the dark, thinking. Not just about what she did. But about why she did it. Was it about me? About how I'd let things go? About how I'd gotten too comfortable? Or was it all her? I wanted to believe it was temporary. A mistake. A phase brought on by insecurity, validation, and a tattooed trainer who knew how to whisper just the right thing in her ear after squats. But what hurt the most was that she never even apologized. She never even told me. She just kept smiling that fake smile, wearing those tight outfits, and acting like we were fine. The next morning, she left earlier than usual. "Gonna do a double session," she said. "Leg day." I nodded, watching her ponytail sway as she walked out the door. After she left, I sat down at her vanity and opened the drawer. I knew she kept her gym key fob there. I held it in my palm for a long time. That afternoon, I drove to Iron Pulse. I didn't go inside. Just parked across the street in the lot by the dry cleaners and watched. People came and went. Fit ones. Old ones. Awkward teenagers. And then, around noon, I saw him. Jason. Or Jace. Whatever his name was. He came out the side door behind the gym, lit a cigarette, and leaned against the dumpster. He was laughing at something on his phone. 2 minutes later, Jess followed. She didn't see me. She walked out, ponytail messy, hoodie unzipped, cheeks flushed. He pulled her close, whispered something in her ear, and she kissed him. Not a peck. A long, slow, familiar kiss. The kind she used to save for me. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't get out of the car. I just sat there, watching the last piece of my trust get stomped into the pavement like a cigarette butt. And even after all of that, I still couldn't hate her. But now I knew what I was dealing with. And next time, she wouldn't see me coming. I didn't go home right away after seeing them behind the gym. Instead, I drove around town, past all the places that used to mean something. The high school football field where Jess and I first kissed. The little gas station we used to stop at on road trips just to grab a soda and argue over candy bars. The old diner with the broken jukebox, where we shared fries and she used to slide into the booth next to me, not across. That version of her, the one who laughed too loud and wiped ketchup on my sleeve, was gone. She'd been replaced by someone with sharper edges, shorter skirts, and secrets stacked like poker chips behind her back. By the time I got home, it was dark. Jess was on the couch with her legs curled under her, scrolling through her phone. She looked up when I came in and smiled, like nothing had happened, like the only thing she'd done that day was run on a treadmill. "Hey, you okay?" she asked. "You were gone forever." I nodded and forced a smile. "Just had some errands." She patted the spot beside her. "Come sit." I hesitated, then walked over and sat down. She leaned into me like she always had. Like we were still something unbroken. I stared at the TV screen, some reality show droning on in the background, but my mind was far away. I kept seeing her pressed up against that locker. His hands on her waist. Her laughing like she was free. She didn't even flinch. Didn't even pause to think about the man waiting at home. The man who still folded her socks and poured her morning coffee. "I was thinking," she said, "maybe we should book that cabin for a weekend again. You know, the one by the lake." It felt like a test. Like she knew I knew. I swallowed the bitterness in my throat. "Sure. Yeah. That'd be nice." She smiled again and kissed my cheek. "I'll check dates tomorrow." That night, as she slept beside me, I couldn't stop thinking about mirrors. They'd always been important to her, ever since she started going to the gym. She'd spend 15-20 minutes in front of them, adjusting angles, checking posture, smoothing hair. Mirrors became her truth. She trusted them more than she trusted me. But mirrors can lie too. They show you what you want to see, not what's underneath. The next day, I decided to visit the gym, not as a customer, but as a man looking for something. I walked into Iron Pulse around noon. The girl at the front desk barely glanced up. "You a member?" she asked, chewing gum. "No," I said. "I'm here to see Jason." She perked up. "Trainer Jay?" "He's in the back. Got a session." I nodded like I belonged, like I'd walked through those doors 100 times. I made my way past the rows of machines, the sound of clanking weights and grunts surrounding me. Then I saw them. Jess and him. She was doing hip thrusts. He was watching too closely. They hadn't noticed me yet. Her back was to me. He stood near her feet, leaning just a little too far in. I stood there, frozen in the middle of the gym floor. I could have turned around. I could have left. But I didn't. I walked up and said, "Jess." She flinched. Jason turned. Jess whipped around and tried to smile. "Hey, babe. What are you doing here?" I looked at her. Really looked. At the way she stood suddenly straighter, at the flush in her cheeks that wasn't from the workout, at how her hands subtly drifted behind her back, like she could hide what I already knew. "I was in the area," I said. "Thought I'd drop in." Jason offered his hand, smirking. "Jason. Nice to meet you, man." I took it, shook it harder than necessary. "Likewise." Jess fidgeted. "We were just finishing up." "Good," I said. "I'll wait by the car." Then I turned and walked out, not because I couldn't say more, but because saying more wouldn't have mattered. Not yet. She came out 5 minutes later, hair up in a messy bun, hoodie zipped. We drove home in silence. At a red light, she said, "You scared me a little back there." "Why?" "I don't know. You just looked intense." I didn't answer. And when we got home, I told her I was going to take a long shower. I stood under the hot water, thinking about what I was going to do next. I'd already made the choice to forgive her once. But forgiveness without honesty isn't forgiveness at all. If she wouldn't come clean on her own, then maybe she needed to be reminded who I was. Not a doormat. Not the backup. Not the man who waits in the car while she finishes cheating. The man who sees her. The real her. And that was the first night I started keeping notes, writing down dates, outfits, times she left the house. Not to punish her. Not yet. But to remind myself, I wasn't crazy. She was. And the mirror had finally cracked. I started small. A note here, a photo there. Dates. Times. How long she was gone. What she wore when she left and whether she came back flushed, sweaty, or humming along to pop songs on the radio like nothing had happened. I wasn't trying to become a private investigator. I was trying to keep my grip on reality. Because when someone you love lies to your face often enough, it can mess with your head. You start to wonder if maybe you're the one who's broken. Maybe you imagine things. Maybe you're too insecure. Too jealous. Too soft. I needed evidence, not just emotion. The next few days passed in a fog. Jess was chirpier than ever, which only made it worse. She sang while doing dishes, made my favorite meals out of nowhere, even bought a new set of bed sheets she said were a sensual upgrade. I smiled through it all like a man clinging to the last piece of driftwood in a hurricane. She'd never looked better. And I hated it. I hated that the same transformation I'd cheered on just months earlier, her renewed energy, her tight gym body, her confidence, was now something I resented. Not because she'd changed, but because she'd used her change to slip away from me. One evening, I told her I had a late shift. I didn't. I parked across the street from the gym instead. She'd started wearing these red spandex shorts, the kind that rode up if she so much as bent forward. I saw her step out of the car and adjust them before tossing her ponytail over her shoulder and heading inside. 2 hours later, she came out again, with Jason. They walked side by side, not touching, not laughing. It was casual. Too casual. Like they knew how to hide now. He didn't even walk her to the car. Just nodded and turned away. She sat in her driver's seat for a while before pulling out. She didn't go home. She went to his place. That was the last little sliver of doubt, gone. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just drove home and waited. When she finally walked through the front door around 10 p.m., her cheeks were flushed again. She tossed her gym bag in the hallway like always and said, "That new class Jason's running is brutal, babe. You should try it sometime." I nodded slowly, staring at the floor. "Yeah," I said. "Maybe I will." She came up behind me, wrapped her arms around my waist, and pressed her cheek against my back. "You smell good," she whispered. I stood still. I wondered if she was thinking of him while touching me. That night, when she fell asleep beside me, I didn't sleep. I just stared at the ceiling. Not angry. Not even numb anymore. Just tired. The next day, I started phase 2. I downloaded a voice recorder app on my phone. Left it on when I forgot it in her car. Got an hour of silence and then, the unmistakable rhythm of breath and movement. Skin. Whispers. Proof. I labeled the file. Dated it. Stored it on an external drive. I started taking photos. Her locker door number. The scratches on the inside of Jason's back bumper. Her pink towel looped over his bathroom door, the one she used at home, too. I didn't confront her. Not yet. See, people like Jess, they only learn from mirrors they can't avoid. And I was going to hold one up so big, so perfect, she wouldn't be able to look away. But until then? I smiled. I made breakfast. I kissed her on the forehead before she left for her yoga class. I even told her I'd join the gym soon. She beamed at that. "You're gonna love it," she said, eyes bright. "You'll feel stronger." Stronger. Maybe I already was. By the end of September, the weather had started to turn, cooler mornings, crisp evenings. The gym crowd thinned a little. Fewer shorts. More hoodies. But Jess stayed the same. Short skirts, tight tops, body oil that left a sheen on her legs when the light hit her just right. It was like she wanted to be seen, but only by strangers. I'd grown used to the act by then. The lies wrapped in lipstick and perfume. The guilt gifts, a watch, a handwritten note on my lunch bag, a random, "I love you" text sent while she was probably still sweating from being with him. I collected everything. Voice memos. Photos. Password screenshots. But I didn't use any of it. Not yet. Instead, I kept playing the good guy, the one who kissed her goodnight and left the porch light on when she was late. Then one morning, everything flipped. I was making coffee when I heard her throw up in the bathroom. The sound caught me off guard, loud, real. Not like a hangover or a bad shrimp. It kept going. By the time I reached the door, she was slumped against the bathtub, hair matted to her forehead, face pale. "Jess?" I said carefully. She looked up, startled, then quickly flushed the toilet. "Just a bug," she muttered. "I think I ate something bad at lunch yesterday." She tried to stand. I helped her up. She leaned into me a little longer than usual. "You sure?" I asked, staring at her. She wouldn't meet my eyes. "I'll be fine," she said. She wasn't. It kept happening, every morning, like clockwork. And that's when it hit me. She wasn't sick. She was pregnant. I didn't say anything. Not right away. I waited, hoping she'd tell me, hoping she'd come clean, or at least try. But she didn't. She just carried on like nothing had changed. Kept dressing the same, kept training late, kept kissing me like she didn't taste guilt on her tongue. One afternoon, I found her sitting in the backyard, staring at the trees. It was rare for her to be still these days. I sat beside her. "You ever think about kids?" I asked. She flinched, then forced a laugh. "Where'd that come from?" "I don't know. Just wondering." She stared ahead, jaw tight. "Maybe someday," she said. "But not right now. My body's finally getting where I want it. I'm not ready to give that up." And there it was, her answer without saying it outright. She was pregnant. She wasn't keeping it. And she hadn't told me, because it wasn't mine. That night, while she slept, I got into her phone. Her passcode hadn't changed. I checked her messages. There weren't any texts from Jason, smart move on her part, but there was a draft email saved in her notes app. Unsent. Half written. "I can't go through with it. It's not yours." I know it's not. I don't even know how to talk to him about it. I don't want to ruin everything. What if he finds out? What if he sees? That was all. I put the phone down and walked out to the porch. The air was sharp, bitter with the scent of burning leaves. Something in me cracked open. It wasn't just the cheating anymore. It wasn't even the lying. It was the fact that she didn't even trust me enough to come to me, even to admit what she'd done. She was still trying to control everything. The image. The angles. The mirror. But life doesn't let you crop the truth forever. And I had a plan now. A new one. I wasn't going to confront her with evidence. I wasn't going to scream, break things, or cry. I was going to make her tell me. I was going to let her sit in her own lies so long she choked on them. And just when she thought I still hadn't figured it out, that's when I'd show her what real strength looked like. Not muscles. Not sweat. Not thongs under see-through dresses. Real strength was quiet. It was patient. And it was coming for her. After that night on the porch, everything changed, not for her, but for me. Jess went on pretending nothing was wrong. Same gym bag over the shoulder. Same kiss on the cheek. Same perfume that used to pull me in but now just smelled like something fake, sweet, too sweet, like syrup over spoiled meat. But I stopped pretending. I still played the part of the husband, yes, made breakfast, folded laundry, texted her, "Love you," in the afternoons, but inside, I was preparing for the finale. Every word she said was a test. Every time she came home late, I looked her in the eye and smiled, watching for the blink. The twitch. The break. She never gave it away. Not even once. But the cracks were forming. She'd flinch when I walked into the room too fast. Her eyes lingered too long when I said I was proud of her. She was wondering. Does he know? And the longer I waited, the more paranoid she got. That was what I wanted. I wanted her to feel it like I had, that itch beneath the skin, that heaviness in the chest. The weight of hiding. Then came the Sunday morning that shifted it all. I had just finished mowing the lawn when she called out from the back door. "Babe? Can you help me carry something down from the attic?" It was a weird request. Jess hated the attic. Said it smelled like old cardboard and dead bugs. But I nodded. Sure. We climbed the creaky stairs together. I noticed her hand shaking as she pulled the string to turn on the light. At first I thought she just wanted a box of old college clothes or something. But instead, she walked to the far side, knelt behind a stack of Christmas decorations, and pulled out a thin pink box. She held it in her lap for a moment like it might bite her. Then she looked up at me. "I have to tell you something," she said. I didn't speak. I'm pregnant. I didn't flinch. I just stood still, watching her squirm under the weight of her own words. "Anne." She swallowed. "I don't think it's yours." Silence. Just the hum of the attic light above us. "I wanted to get rid of it without telling you," she said. "I was afraid. Of what you'd think. Of what you'd do." I finally spoke. "What stopped you?" Her eyes filled with tears. She pressed a palm against her stomach. "I don't know," she whispered. "Guilt, maybe. Or, maybe I just wanted you to know before it was gone. I didn't want to lie anymore." She broke then. Tears rolled down her cheeks. She curled forward like the confession physically hurt. I knelt in front of her. "Jess," I said softly, "thank you for telling me." She blinked up at me, surprised. "You're not mad?" I smiled. It felt real for once. I've been mad. I've been broken, humiliated, hollowed out. But right now? I'm just relieved. She stared, confused. "I've known for a while," I said. "I just wanted to hear it from you." She covered her mouth, then let out a sob. The kind that shakes your shoulders. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I know," I said. We sat there together, in the heat and dust of the attic, like two kids who broke a vase and didn't know how to tell their parents. I helped her down the ladder. She didn't speak the rest of the day. just followed me around like a ghost in gym shorts. That night, she curled up beside me in bed. "You're a better man than I deserve," she whispered in the dark. I didn't respond. Because she was right. The days after her confession passed quietly, unnaturally so. Jess tiptoed around me like she was walking through a minefield she'd planted herself. She cooked more. Washed my car. Folded my socks into perfect pairs. She even canceled her gym sessions for a week, telling me she just wanted to be home. But I could see it on her, that tremble behind her mascara, the crackle in her voice when she asked me how my day was. She was scared. Not of me, but of what I might do next. She didn't ask me what I was thinking. She didn't have to. I knew she was waiting for a reaction, for some kind of punishment. But the truth was, I wasn't sure how I felt anymore. I'd already grieved. I'd grieved the trust. The loyalty. The soft vision I had of the woman I thought I married. That woman was gone, replaced by someone I no longer recognized, no longer even fully understood. The part of me that loved her? Still there. But it didn't burn the way it used to. It just sat there. Quiet. Ashes instead of fire. 3 days later, she came home from work early and sat me down at the kitchen table. The same table where she once surprised me with cake on my birthday. The same table where I ate alone for weeks while she worked late. She looked down, twisting her hands in her lap. "I scheduled the appointment," she said. I didn't speak. I waited. "Next Tuesday," she added. Still, I said nothing. She searched my face like she wanted a reason to cry. When she didn't find one, she looked away. "I don't expect you to come with me," she said. "I don't even expect you to forgive me. I need to make this right. Or at least stop it from getting worse." I finally nodded. And that was it. That night, I lay in bed while she sobbed into her pillow, thinking I was asleep. I didn't move. Didn't touch her. I just stared at the ceiling, wondering how we'd gotten here, how two people who used to dance in the kitchen over burnt toast now barely touched. She left early the next morning without saying goodbye. And I finally did what I hadn't done in months. I drove to the gym. I parked outside, waited until Jason showed up in his shiny black Jeep with the tinted windows. He walked inside like a man who believed in mirrors more than people. I didn't follow him. I just watched. And then I drove away. Back home, I opened Jess's closet. It was filled with tight dresses, short skirts, designer heels I'd never seen her wear for me. I touched the fabric of one short blue dress that had always made my chest sink. And for the first time, I felt nothing. Not hate. Not hurt. Just empty space. That evening, Jess came home late again. I didn't ask where she was. She looked at me the way people look at an old photograph, with a soft ache in their eyes. "I'm sorry I became someone you don't recognize," she said, sitting on the edge of the bed. I nodded. "You didn't become her," I said. "She was always there. I just couldn't see it." She didn't argue. Instead, she pulled something from her purse, the pink box from the attic. "I didn't go through with it," she said quietly. I couldn't. I sat in the clinic parking lot for 2 hours and couldn't walk inside. I blinked. "I don't know what that means," she said. "I don't know what I'm doing. I needed you to know. I can't lie to you anymore." And then she did something that caught me completely off guard. She put the box in my hands and said, "I'll leave the decision to you. You decide if I stay. You decide what happens next. I won't fight you." She stood, walked into the bathroom, and shut the door. I sat there, holding the box. Feeling the weight of everything we were, the love, the betrayal, the hope, the exhaustion. It was all in that box. I opened it. Inside was the ultrasound photo. Black and white. Grainy. But real. I sat there for a long time. The ultrasound photo blurred in my hands. Not because it was out of focus, but because my eyes were. My chest felt hollow, like someone had scooped out everything I used to be and left only echoes behind. Jess came out of the bathroom and found me still sitting there. She didn't speak. She just watched me, like someone bracing for the swing of a hammer. I looked up at her. And for a moment, I didn't see the woman who cheated. I saw the girl I met in college, laughing on the quad, mustard on her cheek from a street hot dog, daring me to skip class and come to the lake with her. I saw the woman who cried when we lost our first pregnancy. The woman who wrapped a scarf around my neck that winter I got pneumonia. And then I saw the woman in the gym mirror. Tight dress. Stockings. Smiling at a man who wasn't me. It was all there, in one body. The love and the betrayal. The warmth and the wreckage. And I knew something for the first time since this nightmare started. I couldn't stay. Not because I hated her. But because I finally loved myself more than I missed her. I'm not going to make the decision for you, Jess, I said, voice steady. That life, that baby, if you're carrying it, that's your decision. But me? I stood and handed her the pink box. I'm done living in a story I didn't write. She didn't cry. Didn't plead. Just nodded. I understand, she whispered. I packed 2 bags that night. Nothing dramatic. Just essentials and my dignity. The next morning, I left her a note on the kitchen table. You always wanted to be seen. I finally see you. I hope one day you do too. And I walked out. I stayed with my buddy Rick for a few weeks. Spent time fishing, helping him patch up his garage, watching stupid action movies while drinking cold beer. And for the first time in years, I laughed like I meant it. 6 months passed. Then, one afternoon, I got a letter in the mail. No return address. Inside was a photo. Not an ultrasound this time, a real photo. A baby. Big brown eyes. Cheeks like marshmallows. A little boy. On the back, Jess had written. His name is Caleb. I wanted you to know he's healthy. I never told Jason. I didn't want him in Caleb's life. I'm raising him alone. I don't expect anything from you. I just wanted you to know, he looks like you. I sat on the porch for hours holding that photo. I didn't cry. I didn't smile. I just stared at the little face. And somewhere inside, something healed. Not all at once. But enough. Enough to get up, walk inside, and tack the photo to my fridge with a magnet that read, breathe. A year later, I was at the farmer's market, sunglasses on, flannel shirt, sipping lemonade. I turned a corner and stopped dead. There she was. Jess. Holding a toddler on her hip. She looked different. Not younger. Not prettier. Just real. Hair pulled back. No makeup. Worn jeans. Tired eyes. She saw me. Smiled. And mouthed. Thank you. I nodded. And kept walking. Sometimes, the bravest thing you can do isn't fighting for someone. It's letting go.